He was a 5-year-old boy who wanted to be a hero. Tenko grew up in a household built on silence and fear. His father, Kotaro, had been abandoned as a child by his own mother, a hero named Nana Shimura, who gave him up to protect him from her dangerous life. Kotaro never forgave her for that. He grew to hate heroes entirely. Tenko's dream was the one thing his father punished most. He was beaten for it, regularly. Tenko's only comfort was his dog, Mon, and his older sister, Hana, but even that was fragile. When Hana showed Tenko a photograph of their grandmother, Nana, the hero, their father found out. He beat Hana in front of Tenko as punishment, and Hana, desperate to protect herself, blamed it all on her little brother. She chose herself over him, the last person he trusted. That night, something in Tenko snapped. His quirk manifested for the first time. Decay, the ability to disintegrate anything he touches. He didn't understand what was happening. He reached out to his dog Mon for comfort, and Mon turned to ash in his hands. Then it spread. He touched his sister. He touched his grandparents. He touched his mother. One by one, everyone he reached for in panic disintegrated. His father came to see what had happened and looked at Tenko not with horror, not with grief, but with pure disgust. He raised his hand to strike him. Tenko's quirk activated again. His father fell to ash. He was left standing in the rubble of his entire family, covered in their remains, alone, a 5-year-old child. He wandered the streets for days. People passed him. Some saw the blood. None of them stopped. The heroes he had worshipped his entire short life. None of them came. The society that celebrated heroes as symbols of hope had no interest in one broken, bloody child on the street. That's when All for One found him. All for One didn't save Tenko out of kindness. He recognized raw material. He gave him a new name, Tamura Shigaraki, and spent years carefully cultivating his hatred. He fed every resentment. He reinforced every wound. He turned a grieving 5-year-old into the perfect weapon against hero society. The most disturbing part of Tamura Shigaraki is not his power. It's that his hatred is completely logical. The system he wants to destroy is the same one that walked past him while he cried next to his family's ashes. He didn't choose to become a villain. He was grown into one by the very world that was supposed to protect him. Doflamingo was born a celestial dragon, the highest class of human in the One Piece world. People who live above the clouds, who can kill commoners for sport, or who answer to no one. He grew up believing he was a god. Every system around him confirmed it. Then his father voluntarily surrendered their status to live among regular people. What he didn't understand was the depth of hatred that had been building for generations. The moment commoners found out a noble family was living among them, they didn't see innocent children. They saw their oppressors in small form. The family was hunted, their home burned. They were chased into a shack near a garbage dump with nothing. His mother died of illness with no medicine, no shelter, and no one willing to help. Then a mob captured all 3 of them and tortured them, stringing them up and making them suffer, slowly, deliberately. Rosinante, still a small child, begged for it to stop. Doflamingo didn't beg. Even while being tortured, he screamed that he would survive. And when he got down, he would kill every single one of them. He was 8 years old. His father begged the Celestial Dragons to at least take the children back. They refused. Once you leave, you're tainted forever. The people who treated him like a god, his entire life threw him away without blinking. That is 3 betrayals stacked on top of each other before he turned 10. The commoners he was raised to see as beneath him tortured him. The gods he was told he belonged with rejected him. And his own father's naive idealism caused all of it. There was no identity left. So he built his own world, one where he made the rules. And the philosophy he landed on was the only one that made sense after everything he survived. The world is built on cruelty, and only those willing to fully embrace that truth will ever survive it. Doflamingo isn't cruel for fun. He's cruel because every institution that was supposed to hold him failed so completely that cruelty became the only honest thing he ever knew. Everything about Gitaro's existence was defined by rejection before he ever had the chance to choose anything. He was born in the absolute lowest place in the Yoshiwara Entertainment District, a riverbank where the unwanted were discarded, the sick, the destitute, the dying. His mother didn't want him. She tried to end his life before he was born. Gyutaro grew up with open sores on his skin, eating insects and scraps and anything he could scavenge. They mocked his appearance, his voice, the way he smelled. He didn't have a single person who claimed him. Not one. But Gyutaro was sharp. He noticed that his physical appearance, the very thing everyone used to humiliate him, made people afraid of him too. So he became a debt collector. Then his sister was born. Ume was beautiful. Ume became the proof that someone connected to him could be worth something. That by extension, maybe he was too. Then she was set on fire. A client she had offended was a samurai. When Gyutaro learned of it, he tracked the samurai down. While holding his dying sister, the same samurai appeared behind him and slashed him open. And what did Gyutaro do? Dying from blood loss, holding the burned body of the only person who ever loved him, he killed the samurai. He killed the brothel owner. Then he picked Ume up and carried her through the district, begging anyone at all to help them. Nobody helped. In a place built on spectacle and entertainment, 2 dying children were just a scene nobody wanted to look at. When Doma offered them transformation, gave them both demon blood and a way to survive what should have been the end, it wasn't a seduction. It was the only door in Gyutaro's entire life that didn't close in his face. What makes Gyutaro psychologically fascinating is this. He became one of the most sadistic demons in existence. He killed 15 Hashira. He reveled in the suffering of the strong. But underneath every act of cruelty was the same wound, the rage of a boy who was told by the entire world, from the moment of his birth, that he didn't deserve to exist, and who could never fully stop believing it. His cruelty was never power. It was a scream that never stopped. From birth, Sensui could see demons and spirits that nobody else could. Most people would be terrified by that. Sensui became a weapon because of it. By adolescence, his power was so extraordinary that Spirit World recruited him as their spirit detective, a human operative assigned to hunt demons threatening the living world. He accepted without hesitation because to him the world was perfectly simple. Humans were good, demons were evil. He was the line between them. For years, he was the best spirit detective in history. Ruthless, but precise, as undefeated. Then he walked into the wrong building. During an investigation, he discovered a secret society of wealthy humans who had captured living demons and were torturing them for sport, not for protection, not for strategy, purely for the pleasure of watching something suffer. These weren't demons attacking humans. These were the humans Sensui had given everything to protect, laughing while they did it. His mind didn't bend. It snapped. He killed everyone in that building and couldn't stop himself. But here's what makes his breakdown truly unique. He couldn't live with what he'd done in that room either. The contradiction was too heavy for one mind to carry. So it split. 7 personalities formed inside him, each one holding a different fragment of a psyche that had shattered beyond repair. 7 people living in one body because one person could no longer survive the truth he had seen. He spent years afterward watching the Chapter Black tape, a recording of every atrocity humanity had ever committed, searching obsessively for something to contradict his conclusion. He never found it. When Sensui finally died, his last words weren't about revenge or his plan. He said he was satisfied. He asked that in his next life, he could be born as a demon, because he genuinely believed demons lived with more honesty than the species he had spent his whole life protecting. He didn't want to destroy humanity out of hatred. He wanted to be done with the grief of having loved it. Johann and his twin sister Anna were born as the product of a eugenics experiment, designed to create the perfect human. Their mother fled and hid with both twins, dressing them identically as girls so anyone watching would think there was only one child. Johann spent his earliest years with his own identity erased. Then Bonapartist people came and forced the mother to choose which child to hand over. She first chose Johann, then changed her mind and gave up Anna instead. For the rest of his life, Johann would never know if his mother chose to protect him, or simply couldn't tell him apart from his sister. That single uncertainty became the wound everything else grew from. Anna witnessed a massacre at the facility and ran back to tell Johann everything. He absorbed her trauma so completely that over time, he could no longer separate her memories from his own. Their identities had been merged from birth, and now their inner worlds were merging too. Before any institution touched him, he was already dissolving. He began killing people who tried to help them, not in rage, almost clinically. Then came Kinderheim 511, a facility designed to produce soldiers by psychologically destroying children. And one staff member said it plainly afterward. Kinderheim didn't create Johann. He arrived that way. Johann turned the facility's psychology against itself so thoroughly that staff and children began killing each other. 50 people died. Johann watched from outside. As an adult, his weapon was never violence directly. It was people. He would enter someone's life, speak quietly, and within days, that person was destroyed. His philosophy was pure nihilism. Most lives are brief flickers and then nothing. He doesn't want to rule the world. He wants to prove it was never worth ruling. And somehow that conclusion wears a gentle smile.